Hi, my name is Jason Graziani for Valuetainment, and today I wanted to ask you a question. Who do you think the two most powerful groups of people are in the United States of America? I'll give you a second to think about it. Who do you think the two most powerful groups of people are in the United States of America? I would submit to you that it's politicians and business executives, those who run our government and those who run our private sector. Now, the point that I want to make with this is that a lot of times people are a part of a company and they complain about where the company's going or the future or the direction that the leadership is taking it in. And then there's people that are a part of the United States of America, namely you and I and many other people, and we have opinions that go one way or the other. And we judge our leadership and say we don't like the direction that the country's going in. But what I want to submit to you today is how could we blame either one of these groups when the incentives that we impose on them are both for the short term? Let me explain. If you're a politician, how often are you judged or how often are you measured? This happens every 2 to 4 years with an election cycle. And who judges you? The voters. So if you are in a position of leadership and you want to institute change for the long term, but you're being judged in the short term, how can you rightfully operate with the long term in mind when you're constantly evaluated every 2 to 4 years? Let's change gears to the private sector. Here you have the corporate executives, the big business, and we want our companies and we want our corporations to be thinking about the long-term well-being for their clients, for the country, for their investors. However, how often are these executives measured and who measures them? Every quarter they have to bring out their earnings and they have to report to their shareholders who are deciding whether they want to keep their investments with these companies or not. And so where we elect and where we put these CEOs and these CFOs in place to run a company for the long term, we have no incentives for the long term because these are only done on a quarterly and an annual basis. And so to summarize, if you're out there and you're wondering, hey, that's a good point, we want to build for the long term both as a society and a civilization as well as our individual households. What can you do as an individual to institute change? One, your purchasing power in the private sector as well as your voting power in the public sector. You could respond with what you spend your money on and who you vote for. But in the bigger scale, I would make sure that you're making decisions on a daily basis, whether it affects your church or your family, or whether it affects your business or the community around you. Make decisions for the long term, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. So as a society, we need to decide what's most important. Is it more important to give our leaders more time, both on the government side and the private sector side, in order to institute change and to properly lead for the long term? Or is it better to constantly manage and constantly evaluate in the short term, causing them to make a lot of short-term decisions? I'm interested to hear your feedback. Post your comments below and make sure you subscribe to Valuetainment. This is Jason Graziani for my message of the week, signing off. Have a great day.